Oh, he's smoking one already.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Square Circle Maniacs Pro Wrestling Podcast. My name is Johnny Bottles. The man to my left is Dr. Don Wayne, the neckbeard psychologist from Twitter. Strap in, buckle your seatbelt, have a nice cocktail poured. It's going to be a bumpy ride, but we'll get through this. We've got a lot to talk about. We've got a lot to talk about in the realm of AEW. Don, what's first?
Bottles, I'm gonna need you now more than ever, friend, because I'm gonna need a sanity check. I watched last night's show and I was expecting a pube monster coming out of this thing after they set a motherfucker on fire. That's what I was expecting. I didn't get that last night, and I've got to ask you out the gate. I gotta have your rating. I've got to have a Johnny Bottles rating out the gate. I got to know what you thought of this entire show from start to finish.
Oof. Let's see. I'll give it 2 hot pockets. 2. Usually it would be 1 or negative, but I give it 2 hot pockets. They did some things correct. They did a lot of things bad, but they did some things that were correct. They bungled the booking again because you're just slapping this. You're slapping this together just at the spur of the moment while you're riding to the arena. What more can I say?
We're going to get there. Like you said, there's a lot of things to like about this show. There's a lot of things I just scratched my head and said, come on, man, what the hell are y'all doing right now? You had it. It's kind of like if you're in a Lamborghini, right? And you're cruising along the Autobahn at about 100 miles an hour. And there's suddenly a damn speed bump out of nowhere. We had a good show going, and nope, we got to get John Moxley in here. Nope, we got to bring out Orange Cassidy. They always have to put the things out there that a lot of fans don't like. And that's what this was over and over again. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. Got a lot to get to. I'm going to look forward to talking about this show. Please like and subscribe. Hit that notification button. The super chat is open. If you saw something you liked, you disagree with us, or you just want to put your 2 cents in, let us know. They had to start this show off hot because they literally just set a guy on fire. So what do you do first? You trot out your big star, right? Mercedes Mone. And right away when this started, I had some serious questions about this because I didn't see her match. I don't know. I still haven't seen a full match of her. You've seen her wrestle. You've praised her. You said she can go. Her mic work is atrocious and abysmal, and it feels, I don't even know how to describe it, man. It's uneven. It's all over the map. I don't know if she's a heel. I don't know if she's a face. I don't know what she's doing half the time. Am I missing something on this opening segment with her? Because it felt all over the map.
It's high school theater. You know, when a high school class would put together a play, a popular play, and the kids would put it on for the parents to come and see their kids act. That's the level of acting and the level of speaking is for what she does. The dancing's not over. The mic work's terrible. It was terrible in WWE. That's why Vince never let her talk. She rarely spoke. And when she did speak, she was there with an interviewer. She just didn't have a mic in her hand and left to go crazy in the ring without anyone there to back her up. It's boggles my mind what they've done with the booking with this. But
do you think that would best serve her is she just has these segments with someone in the ring asking her questions like they used to back in the 80s and 90s? Because her on her own, this pre-rehearsed shit that she's memorizing, this ain't it. This ain't working. Her promo skills are average at best. I'd almost go so far as to say they're bad.
Remedial.
Good word. Good. Look at you. Look at the source on Big Bottles over here. Getting crazy with the big words. Oh, and he cut his hair again. Must be getting hot in Florida, folks. Look at that. You took it down with was that a half or a 1?
No, actually, my brain is getting so large. The hair can't catch up with it. My skull's getting so big. I'm going to be walking around like the Elephant Man next week.
I need to start wearing boots because the bullshit's getting deep.
Yes. You know what I can't figure out, Don? They set a man on fire at the pay-per-view. And that man showed up on this show. We'll talk about it later. Without being any worse for wear.
Yeah. I want to get to that too, because this whole thing was just, again,
Let's do Mone.
Yeah. Sky Blue comes on the screen and says she's the one that attacked her in the dark. Once again, The booking doesn't make any sense. Why are they having someone that was never involved with the story, that had nothing to do with this entire force, this match, this group, this clique breaking up, this heel turn by Statlander? Why wasn't Statlander the girl that attacked her in the dark? She had a story. I wanted that shot. I was trying to hurt you because I know I could beat up Willow. You're the tough one. Like, that's a natural story. And they just said, nope, we're going to insert this wrestler into this round wrestler in this square pole. It does square box. It didn't make any sense then. 24 hours later, it doesn't make any sense now.
Don, when you called it that Statlander was going to go heel, you said she was going to be the one that attacked everybody, attacked Willow, attacked Mercedes Moné. And I guess they just forgot all about that. They forgot all about it. I don't know. I don't understand it. It would have been fantastic. Actually, what would have been fantastic would be Statlander and Stokely teamed up with Mercedes Moné. Because Mercedes Moné is a heel, a natural heel. Why couldn't that be a heel faction and you've got a manager to talk for Mercedes Moné?
I'm glad you said that, because I honestly thought when we came out of the pay-per-view, this is where this was going to go. I beat your ass for the title. Statlander was going to screw her over somehow. That way the babyface has a bitch, and it turns out I actually didn't even attack her, or I faked the attack. It was all fake to fool you. Something along those lines. There was a million different ways they could go with this storyline, and to me, they chose the worst possible outcome they could have gone in.
Horrible. Horrible. Why do they have to go ahead?
No. I was just going to, I hope I sound good in the chat. If not, let me know. But like I said, we've been doing some audio work here. Bottle's got some audio work done. We're trying to spice up the program, boys and girls. Try to put some money into this. We appreciate your support. But you were going to say, sir?
Why do they have to have a match between the two and a blow off of the feud that just started? The feud started with her and Sky Blue that night, as soon as the show started. And they blew it off later in the program when they actually had a match. I don't understand it. I don't.
Right.
Why is it booking for people with ADHD? Why? And
the other problem is, like you said, this was announced later in the night. I thought they were going to build this up somehow. The girl, both of them, I mean, she's a star in this company, right? Both of them are. Why would you not build this up instead of doing a payoff in one night? And this is what I wrote. They had a natural angle right here, and they totally ignored everything about a natural angle. You had it there.
Like we talked about earlier today on the phone, I mean, you could have had Sky Blue. You could have had Mercedes Moné in her dressing room getting ready to go out. And then a masked woman sneaks in, hits the lights, and tries to jack up Mercedes Moné. And she gets the advantage over her. And the lights come back on when people run in, like, what's going on, what's going on? And she does the Scooby-Doo reveal, rips the mask off, and it's little Sky Blue. They could have done it that way.
Well, they could have
strung it out. They could have strung it out, Don, throughout the entire show.
Well, they did that shit with the devil mask, and we all saw how that was a fart in church, right? I mean, that was a meat farm if there ever was one of an angle. Just horrible. I got them coming tonight. So we got a match scheduled. I get to watch Mercedes Moné. I'm not going to lie. I've never seen a full match of hers. I was not a big wrestling fan in the late 2000s because I hated everything Vince McMahon did. So I didn't see what Mercedes Moné did. 9 times out of 10, if I knew she was on, that shit was off my TV. That shit was off my TV right away. And the other part about this is, you know, we've talked about this in the past. Why does every show now have the lights going off? The House of Black, somebody gets attacked. There's just, who the hell's controlling the lights in this company?
Kevin Dunn.
Why would you say? Well, we got some.
Tony is looking for the next Undertaker. And he's got one with Malachi Black if they would have booked him right. But that guy's going to be leaving soon. And you just got somebody back there, some moron, just flipping the switches. If the Elite are controlling the show, why are they allowing this to happen? They're in the production truck, Don. Why would they allow all this to happen?
This is what I wrote next, because out came Swerve for his match against Killswitch. The dinosaur is back. I'm going to give you all my notes, and I want to hear what you said. Swerve is out again. Killswitch, they got audio issues already. I noted that. Even got a count out and he had to roll in the ring to break the count out. So I said, okay, at least you're trying to keep it somewhat busy. Swerve is still over. The crowd's chanting like hell. Swerve house chants keep going over and over again. And I said, give Swerve credit. This guy has worked his ass off to get good at this business. And they're not treating him like the champion that he is. He's your world champion, and you're trotting him out there in the opening segments of shows, treating him like a mid-carder week after week. I said, you've got him out here with a guy that I can't remember the last time I saw the dinosaur wrestle. He's there as muscle. He's not good in the ring. This was the first time I saw Swerve have to lead a match. He hits him with this finisher and then has to hit him with a second finisher to put this guy away. I said, that does nothing for your champion. What did you think of it? I know you had a much less appeal to it than I did.
When he came off the top ropes for the stomp, the dinosaur is sitting up, just staring at him. Just staring at him like this. With that much time, when you see a man get ready to jump off the top rope and put his 2 feet in your chest, roll out of the way. Just roll out of the way. There's no logic involved in any of this. The guy's name is Aaron Madelson. Aaron Madelson he's an NXT washout, and he plied his trade on the indies. He met Jungle Boy, Marco Stunt, the Young Bucks. He got hired at AEW. He's doing the luchasaurus gimmick on the indies. I think, I believe he was in, what was that? God almighty. What was that? Lucha Underground. He was in Lucha Underground.
Oh.
I broke that gimmick in, I think, in Lucha Underground, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody in the chat room will probably clue me in if I'm wrong. But the guy's he's a decent wrestler, but he's not a big man. He's the same height as Swerve. The other guys, there are guys in the company that are bigger than he is. He's not the muscle. He's an average-sized guy. But in the land of the little people, the average-sized man is the king. And that's what he was at the time. He was surrounded by little wrestlers.
I would agree with what you just said. I agree with everything you just said. When it first started, he looked like a giant because they had all of these smaller wrestlers. And now that they're getting a lot of ex-WWE talent, he's starting to look like I'm not going to say he's small. He looks like a good-sized wrestler, but he's not a giant anymore. Thank you very much, Motorhead. And yes, Tony Khan is still clueless. He's still clueless. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's literally, people have said it all the time, he's internet booking like he's 12 again. In his mind, the dinosaur fighting his world champion looked good. In reality, you shouldn't have your champion struggling against a guy that hasn't had a match on TV since I can remember, let alone has been, a good he was a tag team champion 2 years ago, and I believe that's the only title he's ever held. No, he was also the TNT champion. That's right. He was a TNT champion. That's when Christian Cage told him to give him the belt. That's when he was getting his biggest push, and that's when he got exposed as being a terrible ring hand.
Yes. Don, let me ask you a question. If you were booking a promotion, wouldn't you try to protect your champion for like the big shows and not have him wrestle 3 times a week or twice a week? Wrestling tomato cans, bums like this guy. I shouldn't call the man a bum. Kill switch, luchasaurus, kill shot, whatever you want to call the guy. He's an adequate, serviceable wrestler. He needs to be in a tag team with a veteran, not a newbie like Jungle Boy. He needs to be in a tag team with a veteran so that guy can show him, no pun intended, show him the ropes of the way you work a crowd, do whatever. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm always beating the drum for Luchasaurus because it's a great gimmick. But I mean, come on. What do you do with the guy, Don? I say take the mask off. Call him, he's Aaron Madelson. Call him A.M. Jones. Whatever. Call him anything. Anything's better than the gimmick he's got now. He's not a bad-looking dude without the mask. He's not horribly disfigured. Denisha, thank you so much. Hey, Don and Bottles. They cut out Saraya and Mariah May match for Mercedes Sky Blue match. That's just upsetting because I hearing that TK makes last-minute she probably needs last-minute decisions before the show starts. Well, I got a little excerpt about what Brian Alvarez said on Wrestling Observer Radio and Wrestling Observer, the Daily Show. He keeps bringing it up every day, how it's in chaos back there. The locker room's in chaos. We'll talk about that later.
This was the this was the word going on the street that was on all the dirt sheets was this was very chaotic backstage. A lot of people, this has been going on now for a couple of weeks and it's finally leaking out. A lot of people didn't realize what was being done. They didn't know where their matches were going. They didn't know what they were saying. They didn't know what they were supposed to be doing that night. A lot of that was going on, right? They didn't have an idea of where the show was going to go. Gil, I see your $1.99. I promise we'll get to you. I swear this has been the word on the street now for weeks. For almost a month, I've seen it behind the scenes over and over and over again, right?
You want to talk about this now? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what the hell?
He'll fly people.
Who wore it worse?
Who wore the weave worst? Or Mercedes. I think he wore Mercedes wig because his wig was lost at on a flight and lost in baggage claim.
Yeah, but that brings me to an interesting point because I sent you the picture of it and I put the actual video of it on the Twitter machine there. They cut his hair. They cut the dinosaur's hair, and when he lifted it so bad you could see he was just cutting the hair on the mask. Like, it's the little things that matter, and they don't seem to understand that. The little things that matter. Go ahead and play the excerpt if you want, because she hit on it. Because this was throughout the show. There were parts of the show that looked like it was well thought out, like it had been planned. Like, it was usually the veterans portions, if you want to know the truth, that knew how to put their segments together.
I've watched it over and over, the Alvarez clip, and I will just paraphrase what he said. It goes in great detail. But, the guys on the Wrestling Observer website and the shows, they talk and say the same thing over and over again. So what I will say is, in 2019, when the whole thing started, AEW, Tony Khan, every wrestler had Tony Khan's number. He would text them back and forth. They could call him at any time of day or night and get a hold of Tony Khan. If you needed to answer a question, he was the guy. You go right to him. You don't go to any underlings. In fact, who were the underlings? Right?
It was the EVPs.
Right. I think Cody and QT Marshall handled a lot of that where they put out fires and things like that. But I firmly believe that from the way they all talked in interviews, that he was so accessible. They had no problems with questions. They wanted to tweak their gimmick or whatever piece of business they were going to do. And everything was done through text. They booked the whole show through text. But now you can't get a hold of Tony Khan. He's incommunicado. He won't answer text. Won't answer his phone when you call him. Don't know what he's doing.
Let me ask you something. Do you think that's because backstage he's got so many balls he's juggling between the personnel decisions, the wrestling roster decisions? He's trying to work the TV deal. He doesn't have time, and he's trying to book the shows. He's got to finally admit he needs some personnel backstage. Do you think that's why suddenly they can't find him? Or do you think he's ghosting them because he doesn't want to answer their questions and he's just going to do it the hell way he's going to do it?
He doesn't want to answer questions. You see him in interviews in the media. He doesn't want to answer questions. That's a great question, Don. And I get questions like that all the time. I'd love to answer your question about the TV deal. We're very, very happy where we're at. We hope we're continuing there. That's a great question. I'm glad you asked that question. I don't have a definitive answer for you right now because I don't want to give anything away. But it was a great question. And that's why and remember Ariel Helwani, your man.
Yes. Oh my God.
He'll never book. He had him on the show for an hour, and God wouldn't answer any questions whatsoever. And he said, I'll never have that man back on this show again. And they had a big falling out in public and social media. But I will say that the way he does business now, he'll fly people in from out of state, of course, all around the world, wherever they live, into shows, not use them, but he'll call people up at the very last minute, early in the morning, like Wednesday morning. Hey, how fast can you get on a plane and fly here to Vegas or fly here to California? I just thought of something. I want to use you. That's what he does. And this is a perfect example. There's two rumors going around. Denisha says they cut Saraya and Mariah May's match for Mercedes and Sky Blue. Okay.
And I've heard that as well.
The other rumor going around is Saraya did not want a job to Mariah May.
I did not hear this.
Yes.
You saw her tweet, right? You saw Saraya's tweet where she said, I'm not going to keep my mouth shut anymore. That would actually kind of make sense. So she's either bitching about having to put a job somebody out, or she's bitching about not getting her TV time. But one or the other is happening. She made it publicly known that she was going to do that. I did not hear that one. I'm glad you brought that up.
And that's a contract, by the way, that expires in August.
God,
Psoriasis.
That's the biggest buyer's remorse I've ever seen. But yeah, I don't get it. So whatever. Back to my man Kill. I think the dinosaur wore it worse. That's what I think. The dinosaur wore the shit worse. It's the worst gimmick I think I've ever seen in wrestling. Nothing about that gimmick says cool to me. It says 8-year-old that had an idea one day and said, I'll be a dinosaur when I grow up.
When you put them all together to form the Jurassic Express, I'll die on this hill. It was a confluence of 3 people that the crowd loved to see. They love to see the rah-rah, the crazy dancing of Marco Stunt, who would just be their valet, and Jungle Boy in the loincloth over the tights and the suede leather boots and the long hair, clean shaven. All the girls loved him. And Luchasaurus was the muscle. And it was a great gimmick. The kids loved Luchasaurus. People loved to cheer those guys, so much so that he even bought the rights to the song by Baltimore, Tarzan Boy.
The OEO song.
Yes, it was such a great gimmick that when Jack Perry got suspended, he registered with the copyright.
Well, this is what you read, right? You read this.
Yes. It was backed up by Meltzer. The name Jungle Boy, Jurassic Express, and Luchasaurus. This is why they don't call him Luchasaurus anymore. They changed the name to Killswitch. It was also his green mask was the rubber mask that he would wear that was green at the time was taken from I believe a video game.
Yeah, I think I know.
Video game. You heard this story too.
Yeah.
So they had to spray paint the thing black.
Yeah,
that's why they painted it black, not because he's turned heel, but because of the guy tried to sue AEW. They paid him a couple of grands, go away, and that was it.
I see a picture and I want it painted black. On to the show. We got to get back to AEW.
Yeah, let's go back to the show.
Because out next was your favorite wrestler and mine, one John Moxley. And this is what I wrote. He's saying words in the back near some stairs. He at least mentioned AEW this time as being the top promotion instead of putting over the other promotion, New Japan Pro Wrestling, for which he is the champion of, that, by the way, has no American TV. And I'm going to talk more about New Japan Pro Wrestling later because there was some shit. Yeah, go ahead.
Aren't they on Access? Or are they gone from Access now? They're gone?
I think they're gone. I haven't seen them. I know I don't have Access anymore. So as far as I know, they're not on American TV, nor am I looking for them.
I don't have it either. I
watched them for a time when JR was doing the play-by-play. That was about the last time I saw them. When he left, I said, I can't watch this anymore. I can't deal with the everybody does shit because that's what they're bringing over now, which is a lot of the problems I have with this company. Everybody does a lot of shit. Nobody sells. That's what it has. But at least he mentioned AEW. And then, by the way, I want to give Bottles props today. You guys don't know it, but we are talking to each other at like 6:45 in the morning sometimes when I'm coming into work, trying to figure out what we're going to call this show. And it dawned on both of us. The good, the bad, and the dreadful. And this was what brought out the dreadful. Another Chris Jericho moment. With the tree in the background, like a reading rainbow moment brought to you by PBS. It was horrific from the word go. Jericho he's got Jeff Jarrett 1999 or 1998 go away heat. I don't care where you go. Just get the hell off my TV screen. I don't need to see you anymore. I don't want to hear you anymore. Nothing you're doing is original. It all feels rehashed, and it feels tiresome at this point in time.
I'll say what I said in the past about Jericho. He's got go away heat now, but the man is creative. That mind is always working. He's always pitching something to get himself on TV. And he's trying to, he's got Big Bill with him right now. He's trying to surround himself with younger talent. Ooh. So I guess he looks younger. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is, but
you just said something.
Okay.
Jack Swagger's gone. His last muscle is gone.
Yeah.
He's officially gone now. That came out. So he's gone.
If you're Jack Swagger, do you go back to WWE or you go to TNA?
They don't want him, man. He can't cut a promo. He's not very good in the ring. He's got the charisma of a snail. Why would you want him anywhere near your product? He got a job here because he's friends with Chris Jericho. They needed a monster. That's where it came from. He's just, I have no desire to see that guy on television ever again. Yeah, I'm sorry. The wrestling business just isn't made up for a lot of people. You could be the biggest guy in the room, but if you've got no charisma, it's just not going to get over.
That's true. That's true.
And then during this Chris Jericho segment, he introduced his brand new limb on the tree. Johnny Bottles, who did they introduce?
They introduced Low Plains Drifter.
They introduced the Low Plains Drifter. What's his real name?
Bounty Hunter Brian Keith. He's the bounty hunter, don't you know? That's why he dresses like a kid playing Clint Eastwood on Halloween. That's what cosplay.
It was, and I noticed it when he got in the ring, and I talked to you about it, and you didn't notice it because you were behind me, and I said, Bottles, this guy is like 5'5". Chris Jericho makes this guy look like Chris Jericho look like a monster. Next to the 7-foot oak tree, he looks like a toddler. It is the eye tells you this is a joke. There's no way this guy's a professional wrestler.
He's probably shorter, Don. He had a hat on. He did have that hat on, made him look
I know.
Not a few inches, I guess. But when he wrestles, he's out of shape. He's got a gut. He's built at 300 pounds. And like I always said, jokingly, when we talked about who's on Collision and Rampage, I said he's the smallest giant ever because they try to make it seem like he's a big guy, but he's not. He was wrestle little men on Rampage and Collision, except for that one episode of Collision where he wrestled Bear Country. He was in the tag team. He wrestled Bear Country, where he was the nipple nibbler.
Yes.
He bit that guy right on his nipple.
So we've got a new name. Low Plains Drifter has entered the chat. I loved it. I popped for that one.
Is that actually going to be a regular thing, Don?
I think it is.
A regular part of that faction.
Dude, I know he is part of he's part of that faction now. Jericho is slowly finding guys that he can bring in to be his goons. That's what he's doing. Because speaking of goons, out came Hook. Out came Hook and Samoa Joe. This felt like Caddyshack. Cinderella story out of nowhere. Samoa Joe jumps the rail. You never saw him. They never showed him. He jumps the rail. Okay, here's my question for you on this one. Why did Samoa Joe feel the need to whisper in his ear what he had to say? You're in the middle of a crowd.
There's
nobody can hear you. Why the hell did he feel the need to whisper in his ear?
It's going to be one learning tree versus the learning tree of Samoa Joe, where he's taking Hook under his wing. Hook is probably counting the days when that contract expires and he can go to NXT. He already said he wants to leave. Joe probably, I wouldn't be surprised if Joe called Triple H and said, look, his contract's done soon. It's not contract tampering if someone else calls you and tells you about somebody else's contract. That's not contract tampering. This kid's leaving. He's Taz's son. He's Tyler Sinerka. He's got a bright future. You just have to teach him how to talk and put on some weight.
He's got to get some. I was going to say he's got to get some weight on those Bottles. You cannot go to the land of giants weighing 160 pounds. Get on the gas, kid. You're going to have to do it. You can get a physique like Eddie Guerrero. And you can still be that height, but you have got to get the weights on and you've got to get on the gas. And I hate to be the guy that says that. I'm going to say this in front of you, God and country. I don't care if my athletes, my wrestlers, my pro football players, I don't care if they're all taking HGH and steroids out the ass. I want to see how big and fast you can get. That's what I want to see. When the NFL lines up, I want to see a lineman that's 6'8", 340 pounds that bench presses vans on the weekends full of midgets. That's what I want to see out there. Let me see that guy road tie somebody up. I want to see the same thing with the wrestlers. I'll put it to you this way. Hawk was asked one time by Tony Schiavone, why don't you ever work your legs? It's always upper body with you. You know what he said? It's an upper body business, brother. That was his response. And I was like, perfect. That's perfect. That's what it is. That's what it is. So,
you know what else? By you saying that, Don, I hate to interrupt you, but by you saying that, people are going to say, "Oh, Don is. Oh my God, he told people to take steroids. He doesn't care if the wrestlers take steroids. He doesn't care about their health." Look, you'd be surprised how many middle-aged men are on testosterone.
Right.
They're on HGH, testosterone prescribed by their doctor, and that's what these guys do. These guys, Batista and Triple H and all those guys, they segued from the hard shit onto human growth hormone, testosterone. Yep. And they were getting it illegally from their doctors through prescriptions. It could be 3 or 4 different doctors. They were doctor shopping, which people do. And that's how they get it nowadays. They take a double dose or whatever. It's bad for your ticker.
Yeah,
if you overdose with testosterone. I know a guy who was just doing a little rub of testosterone cream on his forearm every day. And he was losing weight. And all of a sudden, he had a little minor cardiac infarction. And, oh, shit, what's going on? And the emergency room said, "Are you any kind of steroids or anything like that?" "I want to take testosterone, the cream." Oh. It was like the worst thing ever, but it's legal.
Right.
So, I mean, if these guys want to do that and work out, and this guy the people who do it aren't working out. They're doing it so they lose some weight. They feel better about themselves. They have more pep in their step and a little more lead in the pencil, as they say. I don't do it, but.
And here's the other thing, right? I'm not telling you to do it. I'm just telling you I don't care. And by the way, people think that the NFL players and the Major League Baseball players aren't doing steroids and aren't doing HGH. Folks, they're still doing that shit. That's why they test positive and they piss hot. It's just they figured out ways to beat it. You don't run naturally 4.4 at 250 pounds at 28 years old. You don't run a 40-yard dash that fast. They're doing it. They're just getting away with it because they know how to cheat the system and they know how to mask it. Randy Orton is a prime example, right? He's in his mid-40s and he came back bigger and in better shape than ever. You show me one pro athlete that's done that without being on the gas and all that other stuff. You'll never.
Adam Cole.
It just doesn't happen.
Adam Cole did it.
Adam Cole's on reverse steroids.
He looks like he's about to fall through his own asshole.
He comes out there every week and he says, "I need you all to remove all the testosterone in my butt cheeks right now. Take it all out. Take it all out. I don't want to gain another ounce." Anyway, back to the show. Moxley comes out next. Speaking of steroids, Moxley comes out next and he's wrapped in bubble wrap against the Pirates. Rocky Romero, the guy that we all love to watch lose because he's never going to win. He's one of their jobbers and that's fine. But I guess my question is,
Rocky's a good wrestler. He's got a chance.
He's going to be a jobber. That's what he is. You can't come out in a pirate gimmick, take the eye patch off, and that's how you roll. They had one of the WWE years ago. Guess what? That son of a bitch really had a glass eye. That's why he wore it. He didn't have an eye there sometimes. He would take it out for matches so it didn't get knocked out of his skull. That's why he wore an eye patch, because he had nothing there. That's why you wear an eye patch. This guy comes out looking like a goof, like he just stepped off the freaking Pirates ride at Disney World.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to wrestle John Moxley.
Maybe it's a different kind of pirate.
Dude, I'm not going there. But again, it's just Moxley's actually getting in better shape. And I brought this up to you. He looks like he's hitting the weights again. He looks like he's getting in better shape. But there's nothing about this guy's matches or his work or anything about his promos that make me want to watch this guy ever. He comes out walking like he's Brock Lesnar's size every time. When Brock Lesnar comes out, I believe that guy can beat anybody's ass in that building. When Moxley comes out, I'm like, okay, he's been working out more. Good for him. I don't buy it.
If I ran that company or booked that promotion, you know what I would do?
Put him in a tag team?
No, I would have a group of people. I don't know who whatever. It could be a guy and a valet, a female valet or a female wrestler that's paired up together. And when they come out for an interview with Renee, Moxley, Young, Good, whatever her name is, the female gets into it with Renee, and they have a little to-do, a little argument. Right.
Okay, I see where you're
and
going.
maybe she slaps Renee. Then the next time they do an interview together, she's holding the microphone far away. It's a little bit of a thing, and this girl she takes a swing at Renee, and the guy holds Renee so that the woman can have her way with Renee, punch her, slap her, do a move, whatever, and have John Moxley come out. I'm not saying to set up a mixed tag with Renee and him against those two, but
I know what you're saying.
Make this guy sympathetic. Make him a sympathetic babyface. Let me care about Jon Moxley. Right now, I don't care about Jon Moxley. Only thing I care about is getting him off my TV. Have a quick match, John, and get it over with. It's the shits. It's the shits.
By the way, this was, I think, one of the longer matches on the show this night. They're clearly listening to fans. Yeah, but they're clearly listening to fans because the opening match with the champ, that wasn't overly long. It was about 15 minutes max. They went home when they should have gone home.
He should have put that guy away in 5 minutes.
See, I don't know about 5 minutes. I'd have given him a 10-minute match. I'd have gone 10. It was a little
Luchasaurus?
long. I'd have gone 10. He is an ex-champion, Bottles. He's had a tag champion. He's been a champion of this company. He's got some clout. I'm just saying. You may not like him as far as how that goes. I'm just saying. By the way, thanks for watching, everybody. Please like and subscribe. We got the super chats open. Hit that notification button. We will be here for a little while. We still got a lot to talk about here. We got a lot to talk about. There's some things in here that Joe and Hook had the backstage segment. And I thought it was, this was one of the highlights of this show because Joe's doing the best work of his career. I don't think that's debatable.
The guy's in his mid-40s, and it's Samoa Joe. He is a seasoned veteran, man. That guy's seen everything in this business. Why wouldn't, and he doesn't have to wrestle every show. He doesn't even have to wrestle every week. Have him wrestle once a month, twice a month. Keep him healthy. But have him cut promos. Have him do what he did with Hook and do the backstage promo where he said 2 lines, maybe 10 words, Don.
It did, yeah.
15 words.
Do not, I'm telling him now, this is the first lesson. Dangerous men do not exist on other men's time. They exist on ours. I thought that was a great line. That was badass. It cut to the cord. It told you a story. He's here to teach his kid how to be a badass because Joe, you believe, is a badass. He's a big Samoan that's not from the Rock Dynasty. Otherwise, he'd still have a job in the WWE. And you know it, and I know it. That's the only reason that guy's not there is because he doesn't have the right blood running through his veins.
Well, I still say if he was in the WWE right now, he would be in the bloodline.
I don't think he would because I'm telling you,
so.
I think there's something there, honestly, behind the scenes that we don't know about. I think there's a personal rivalry that we don't know about between those factions.
He got a concussion, like every major show. Samoa Joe got a concussion back in the WWE, and the one time he couldn't shake the symptoms, Vince said, "Okay, well you're not on my watch. You're not going out there. You're not. No more Chris Benoit's on my watch. No Bryan Danielson's on my watch, or Daniel Bryan's." So he's got the gift of gab. They tried him as a color commentator, which makes perfect sense to me. He was fantastic at it. He paired up with Michael Cole, and they were stupendous. I thought they were great.
I enjoyed this. I hope he does something with Hook that makes me buy into him because right now I just don't. I'm sorry. I just don't. Next up was Don Callis coming out and offering a contract to OC, and I could just give a shit about everything that happened here. Like I said, we talked about the good, the bad, and the dreadful. This was one of those dreadful moments. There's nothing about anything that this guy does that makes me want to give a shit. Nothing. He's pasty. Anything OC does, anything Orange Cassidy does, I just don't care. I just don't give a shit, dude. He's pale. He's pasty. He's got no build. He puts his hands in his pockets. Everything about this guy's gimmick, it's a one-trick pony, and it's gotten old a long time ago. And the only guy in this company that doesn't get that it's a one-note joke, unfortunately, is the same guy that owns the damn thing. So we trots him out there week after week, and we get punished by having to watch this shit, and he doesn't get the memo that no one cares. The people that care are the same people that are going to watch this shit every week. The people that don't like him are the 100,000 you brought back to this show this week that said, oh shit, I might see MJF. Oh shit, I might see some actual performers this week. We got goat roped into the show. We watched it only to hear them later say, by the way, John, MJF won't be out here this week. He'll be out here next week and he's going to have a match, which I can't wait to play the promo on this jackass. The worst promo I've seen since the Ultimate Warrior, hands down. They both have the same grasp of English.
He shouldn't have a match. He should have a match. He should have a match at the pay-per-view and should not be wrestling until the pay-per-view. If you want to drive people to buy the pay-per-view, have him come out and cut promos. Not this guy, Rush.
No.
But have him come out and cut promos if you want to drive up the ratings. But they missed a golden opportunity. And you saw it with the rating. 787,000 people tuned into this show. The highest it's been in weeks, in a month. And they were looking for, where's our little friend, MJF? Where is he? Where is he? Where's the Jewish Wolverine? Where's the Jewish Wolverine? He's not
with
here.
All those new hair plugs.
Shit. And that was it.
By the way.
But hang on a second.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to throw one more thing out there. Why would you? I lost my train of thought, Don. My train of thought got derailed. Go ahead, Don.
Why would you put MJF in a match instead of just having him out there, come out there and cut a promo? Why would you risk him, who's been injured for so long, bring him out there against a jobber, because that's who he's going to face, is a jobber, and risk him getting hurt? I'm sure that's where you're going.
No, I was going to say something about Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy popped a rating 3 or 4 times for Tony Khan. He was in the opening match in how many weeks, how many months, and he popped a rating, but it was due to the Big Bang Theory lead-in. That's why he popped the rating. So Tony Khan is nothing if not loyal to good soldiers in his mafia. And Orange Cassidy's a good soldier. Orange, he says, "Hey, Orange, I'm gonna go and going to Wembley to see our team play. Would you like to come? Bring Darby Allin." So Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy, they were in a hostage situation, man. You saw the pictures of that last year.
So anyway, this thing ends with Statlander coming out, and here comes Trent Barretta. And I said, "Oh shit, this isn't over yet. We're still doing this. Why are we still doing this? This is ass." But since you brought up Roosh, I wanted to play the clip. You ready?
Go ahead. I'd love to hear it again.
I'm going to turn this up. See, I hope everybody can hear this. So let's go. This was the promo that Roosh cut last night.
There's no closed captioning for this.
No, make it out.
Can't hear it.
Shit. It went down. Sorry. He said, "But just remember, you'll hear." No, you just remember, I'm here. You get the herds, and I about
you mess with. I think he said you mess with the bull, which he's known as El Toro Blanco, the white bull. You mess with the bull, you get the herds. And he calls me up. I wasn't watching this show. I had just turned it on. He was way ahead of me. And Don says, "Did you know Thomas Hearns is coming back?" What? Wait a minute. What? He goes, "The boxer Thomas Hearns is making a comeback in AEW." What? You son of a bitch. You had me going.
Dude, I really thought he said that. If that's the first thing I thought was, holy shit, Thomas Hearns is coming back. This is going to be great next week. And then I realized that's actually what he says. So sorry I didn't come through clearly. If you haven't seen this segment, go out of your way and find it. It is one of the funniest things you'll ever see. It really is Ultimate Warrior taking off on the spaceship bad. It's just bad all the way around.
I'll put it on my Twitter. I'll put the segment on my Twitter. I sent you that video.
Yes.
I'll put the clip on my Twitter.
Next up, we had Daniel Garcia, right? And this is sort of where, look, this is what I wrote. It's too late for you to be serious. I can't take you seriously anymore. He's trying to come off as a badass. I'm going to come for that Atlantic Championship, wherever the hell it's called now. What's that thing called now? It used to be called the Atlantic Championship. Yeah, now it's the International Championship. I don't know. That's how long I've been watching it, that I remember when it was first called the Atlantic Championship. And I said, what the hell is that? Is it just back and forth across England? Or is it just, what the hell is this? Either way, look, I can't deal with this guy now. You come out, you do the goofy dance, and suddenly you want me to think you're a badass in the ring? It doesn't work that way. Once you become a carnival act and a side chuckle for all the guys that watch this show and love this dumb shit, that's what you are now. You are going to have to do something extreme to break out of this. I'm never going to buy this guy as a serious wrestler. Never.
If I was hired as a booker for Tony Khan, I would come in and say, okay, we fucked this guy, 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 this guy. We fucked these 12 guys up. Daniel Garcia is one of them. We're taking them off TV for 2 months. It's going to be a massive reset. We're bringing in 12 of the other 201 people you've got working here. putting them on the air. They give these guys a break, let them breathe. These other guys are going to come in. We'll see. We'll throw the shit against the wall, see what sticks, see who makes it out of the 12, probably 2 or 3. We'll keep those 2 or 3 on the air in feuds, and then we'll bring back the 12 we took off. Danny Garcia will be one of them. Fathead Daddy Magic will be the other guy. And Cool Hand Ang, who's on his honeymoon right now with the lovely Ruby Riott. Ruby Soho, whatever her name is. The pregnant Ruby Riott, yes. Yes.
And I'll give her credit. She got that nose fixed finally. Thank God, because that thing's been busted more than anybody else I know. That thing's been busted more than Thomas Hearns. But it's fixed now, I'm just saying. Anyway, out came Mone and Sky Blue, right? And you have been telling me about this, and I said, okay, I'm going to watch this intently because my boy Bottles keeps telling me Mercedes Mone can wrestle.
Hell of a wrestler. Hell of a wrestler.
And the first thing I noticed was in the background of this show, some grown man that I'm sure gives every girl he's ever dated panty fungus is dancing just like her.
It wasn't just one.
No, but the one that I saw was a grown man. I was like, that guy gives chicks a panty fungus every time he gets near them.
Three of them right behind her.
The one dude stuck out. All I could think was, why are grown men dancing like a stripper? I don't understand any of the fans that if the women want to, emulate her and dance like that, fine. Grown men acting like that is just perverse and weird to me. I don't get it. Act like you're in public because you are, jackass. You look like a fool now.
Right.
And anybody that knows you is like, look at Tommy. Why is Tommy dancing like a goddamn clown on TV right now? Somebody kick him out of the fantasy football league. I don't want to know this guy anymore. Piss off, Tommy.
Don, if you took your kids to the show and they were doing the dance and all that, you could clown around with them and do the dance. Different thing. But
I'd smack the shit out of my son dancing like that. Right across the back of the head.
You have to check his. I'd take him to a shrink if I saw him dancing like that. If I had a kid who was doing that, I'd take him to a shrink. There's something wrong, pal. What are you not telling me? What aren't you telling me?
This is what I wrote, man. I have never seen Mercedes Mone. She led Sky Blue through this entire thing. Led her through the entire match. Sky Blue's matches I've seen, and a lot of times they're clunky. She was setting her up for almost every move in here. And I know Sky Blue's got a following, and people love that ass of hers, and that's why she gets over.
Yes.
But the truth is, Mercedes Mone, from what I saw, she's a pretty damn good wrestler, man. You were right. I've never really paid attention to her. The girl can wrestle her ass off. She doesn't stop. That's the other thing. She's not running out of gas. She can go and she can go and she doesn't stop. And she's got moves set up and she tries to set up the other wrestler. The neck breaker they did where she came back in the ring, it sounded like she was trying to talk her through that because Sky Blue looked like she had no idea what the hell to do with that.
No clue what to do. She was telling her where to go for each setup and a move. If you want to see peak Mercedes Mone, Sasha Banks, just go in the Peacock and Google, or search on Peacock in the WWE section. NXT Barclays Center, Sasha Banks versus Bayley. And that is the greatest women's match, I think, in WWE history. I think.
There's no way I think I can.
Drama, and the little girls were all cheering for Bayley when Bayley had the ponytail. And she ran over to one little girl and ripped the ponytail out of her hair, and ripped the Bayley button off of her shirt and threw it on the ground. One girl had flowers for Bayley. She ripped it out of her hands, threw them on the ground, smashed them. It was just pure heel. Mercedes Mone, Sasha Banks is a great heel.
The chat's killing me. Be glad you're not reading it.
But you know who does that dance, Don? You know who does that dance? Who loves to do that? I know one guy who loves to do it. He lives in Louisiana.
By the way, thank you all for joining tonight. The super chat is open. If you've got something to say, you got a question, you ain't got to give a lot of money. Just put in a buck. If you got something to say, want to ask something, like and subscribe, hit the notifications button, because the next thing that's coming out, and speak of the devil, Jimmy C approves this segment. Folks, if you don't know, Jimmy C is a guy that we have befriended online in the Twitter community.
Great guy.
If you will.
Great guy.
Good guy, and he is the biggest female wrestling fan you will ever meet in your entire life. Matter of fact, if it doesn't, If it does not involve female wrestling, he don't want to talk shit about it. Get it out of his face. He doesn't have time for you. He is that guy. He loves that shit. Out came a New Japan Pro Wrestling girl. And this is what I wrote. No one in the crowd gives a shit. And I certainly don't give a shit. And I don't want to see this now. Why? Why? Look, the Forbidden Door, when they first started this, right? They had wrestlers that the internet community really wanted to watch. Really wanted to watch. They loved this shit because it was all their favorite across the seas stuff. All these wrestlers that they didn't get to see in America, they were all over there.
Sure.
Got news for you. Tony Khan bought all of them. He's paid them all. All those big stars they had are now in his company.
Tell them why. Tell them how he did that.
Oh, because you tell him. You know this story better than I do.
The guy wears the eye patch, Rocky Romero, was also the talent relations guy for New Japan Pro Wrestling. He would bring in all the Gaijin wrestlers, as they call them, the American wrestlers, the Anglo-Saxon wrestlers from other, the white wrestlers. I hate to say it like that, but the white wrestlers. He would bring them in because he knew them all. He'd bring them into New Japan and book them and take care of all the travel arrangements and all that good stuff. Shows in California, where Rocky Romero is based, he would bring them all in and fly them in. They would have shows in California on the coast. That's where Mercedes Moné broke her leg in a gym. It looked like a high school gym or whatever.
It was a college gym. I looked it up.
A college gym,
gym. Yes.
That's where she broke her ankle wrestling Willow Nightingale. That's where they would have shows in front of, 1,000 people maybe? 800 people? I don't know. It was very, very small crowds.
Very small.
So Rocky Romero came over to Ring of Honor and got hired by Tony Khan, moved over to AEW also. And he said, hey, look, Shibata's contract is going to be up very, very soon. This is what he's making. Okada's contract's coming up in 2 months. This is what he's making. They're not going to pay him any more money. This girl's contract's coming up. You get the idea. Tony Khan, who badmouths contract tampering between WWE and AEW, but he tampered with all the contracts over in New Japan. Tampered with them all through Rocky Romero. And that's how Rocky Romero is wrestling Jon Moxley on Dynamite in a high-profile match. And he's always booked on one of these shows, Dynamite, Rampage, or Collision, as a favor. I'm sure he's working backstage too, doing God knows what. Maybe he's tossing the salads and putting out these sliders, the King's Hawaiian rolls for the catering table. Who the hell knows what he's doing besides that? But he was integral in getting all these New Japan talents to come over and talk to Tony Khan and being the go-between and having all this take place. But go ahead, Don. I digress.
I was going to ask you, do you notice a theme, though, that all of these New Japan Pro Wrestling champions aren't even in their own companies that they're champions of? Jon Moxley's in AEW. I believe this girl's in another company as well. I don't even think she's in New Japan full-time. I don't know what it is, but I don't
She's
care.
not.
Yeah.
I think she was in AAA. She's Spanish. She was in AAA. She was in CMLL. And they have a contract. They have an agreement with CMLL, a working agreement to swap people in and out. And this is all part of it. She went to New Japan. And probably in California, she probably didn't go to Japan. She's got that strong belt, the women's strong title, which is what Mercedes Moné had. And she lost it to Willow Nightingale when she broke her ankle.
Right, but that's what I'm
probably,
saying.
I wouldn't be surprised, Don, what they do, not to cut you off or anything. But what they would do, I wouldn't be surprised if Tony Khan said, I'm going to get you back that strong title. You're gonna have 2 belts.
You're going
and that's
here.
Probably what. Huh?
Here's what I'm going to ask you.
Go ahead.
Who gives a fuck? Who fucking cares?
Nobody.
This is a pay-per-view because Tony Khan got into a deal with this company when he first started because he needed the rub, and now this other company that is dying on the vine is the one that desperately needs the rub, and he needs to get out of this shit. He needs to grow a spine and say, nah, get away from me. I've taken all I need. I don't need this anymore. Your champion is in my company. He loves New Japan.
He loves New Japan. He loves New Japan. He loved it in the early 2000s. He loves New Japan Pro Wrestling because Meltzer loves it. Meltzer had a raging hard on for NJPW.
Oh, don't bring his name
for 40 years now.
Dave
And that's
Meltzer.
just the way it is.
I want to get to the best part of this show last night, by the way. Where that's next, then we're going to run through the rest of this shit. Stokely came out and cut the promo of a lifetime. Stokely turned into Tupac and was dropping bars like the gangster on the corner that you don't mess with. He said, these bitches in the back here call in sick and won't get in the ring when they got a sinus infection. And I haven't even started talking about the women yet. And I was like, oh, shit. Where's this Stokely Hathaway been? Why? It felt like they took the leash off this guy and he unleashed a barrage of go-to-hell moments. Then Statlander came out. She cut the best promo of her life that I've ever heard her cut. This had me highly sports entertained, dare I say. And I said, they need more of this and less of John Moxley in the ring for 20 minutes, wrapped in fucking super glue and tape, having the worst match of the career. This was perfect. More of this, please.
Why wouldn't you have Statlander wrestle a match on the show when she just beat up Willow Nightingale? Why wouldn't you have her on the show just with a female jobber beating the shit out of her in like 2 minutes? Pinned, kicked her, stomped her. Refs come out, separate her. She throws her out of the ring. Stokely's there. They hop in the ring. They cut the promo instead of cutting it backstage. Why wouldn't you do that? To get more heat. But no.
No. I thought it was great. I said this was the best thing of the show by far. Moving on to the next thing. I'm going to move by this as fast as I can. They showed MJF in this segment. I agree with you. It does look like he's got some hair work done. There's no way around that. That's what it looks like. And then out came Jack Perry and the Bucks with Okada. They give Okada a Lamborghini, and I don't mean the guy from Zaxby's. That would be illegal. And he starts crying in the ring.
He cried in the ring, and then when it was over, he went,
yeah, like what the hell was that?
I like it when they were chanting CM Punk, and he turned to the crowd with the microphone and said, "Shut up, bitches."
They have opened. This is never going to stop with them. They've opened this monster, and it's never going to stop.
It's
awful,
I
can't look.
Dude, it's
this.
Awful. It's so.
I just want to say this. Nothing about these guys says intimidating, scary, or tough. They look like a bunch of middle school. They look like seventh graders, in my opinion. They're smallish guys. They're not intimidating, and they get presented as these Billy badasses. If they would just go with the gimmick God gave them and let them be swarmy little shits, it would probably get over. Instead, they feel like they have to be presented like the Legion of Doom or Demolition, and that's why I can't stand anything they do, and I can't stand their work, and I can't stand this faction. And I said, I hope to God, because we don't have the quarterlies, I said, I hope to God this is the part where it took a nosedive. Because if anything, what they did, by the way, if you watched, they let in with the MJF segment, hoping, leading the fans to hope, by the way, this is what they were going to go with. Out come Christopher Daniels, who is now the acting VP GM role or whatever the hell he is, because they were going to give Jack Perry the title of the TNT Championship. And you know Tony Khan loves a tournament. He's not going to miss this moment. He can't just have a number one contender fight a number one contender. He's got all these records. He's got these stats. No, we got to have another tournament that's going to be a single elimination tournament. This shit, man, this is what I said. This was it. This was the dreadful.
Don. You've got the tournament for the TNT Championship. You've got the Owen Hart Cup. How are you going to juggle all this? All these tournaments? How are you going to do it? When do you have time to do this? You have to have an entire episode of Dynamite for a tournament just to kill the whole show. That's what they should do. I just don't understand it.
It all sucked. This whole thing sucked. It was dreadful. I wanted to go the hell away. Swerve cuts a promo in the back after this. Good promo. Swerve cut a really good promo. We've talked about his mic skills, excuse me, how he needs to work on them. It felt like he's been working on them. He got to the gut punch. He said his lines. He got out. He said, I'm going to watch this carefully because we got a casino match again where 15 guys run in that they don't announce before the show to have a match. And as soon as I saw Ospreay come out, I said, I don't need to watch the end of this. That's Tony Khan's favorite new project. He's winning this thing. Now we know what we got for the next pay-per-view headline. And you and I differ on this because you are convinced. You're convinced that they're going to put Ospreay over this next pay-per-view. You think that's what's going to happen. I have another train of thought. I think that everybody is watching this love affair that Tony Khan has with him. And Tony Khan is saying, I'm going to swerve everybody, and I am not going to make him win this match. He's going to have to earn it back in August. That's how I see it going. I really do.
I think that when Ospreay was entertaining offers from WWE, which he was, and AEW, Tony Khan said, I'll give you every goddamn belt I've got. I'm going to dress you up in belts. You'll be the belt collector. That's what I think. I think that Ospreay's going to win that belt from Swerve. And you see how well they're booking Swerve. He's a transitional champion. They don't care about Swerve. Next week, I heard he's fighting the chicken from Family Guy. That's who he's fighting in the opening match on Dynamite. A man in a chicken suit will come out and fight Swerve Strickland.
I wouldn't be surprised at it.
It's ridiculous, Don. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I think the right guy won this gauntlet match. And by the way, no one actually noticed or commented online. It was not a gauntlet match. You know what a gauntlet match is, right?
Yeah. If you lose, you're out. This is not a gauntlet match. It's a sudden death match.
This was like every, 2 minutes, a new guy would come into the ring.
It just sucked.
Why not Jay White? Why not Jay White? Nothing about it was fun. When I saw Mystico come out, the former Sin Cara, the original Sin Cara from WWE, I saw that. I said, it's just all going to shit. It's all going to shit. What if the gobbledygooker would have came out? I would have said, well, this stacks up. Yeah, this adds up. What's the difference?
He won. You knew he was going to win. You knew he was going to win. There was no point in it. We got a different of opinion on this, so I'm looking forward to see where this goes. That was this show, and I couldn't wait to watch it. This really was the good, the bad, and the dreadful, because the spots that were good were absolutely amazing. The spots that were bad were like, okay, that's not a bad spot. The shit with the Bucks and the shit with Jericho, it was just dreadful, man. It was so bad.
They've got lightning in a bottle with Ospreay. The crowd's behind him. He's a good wrestler. Now he's actually selling in matches, and he does these just awkward, good-natured promos where he's so excited to be there. And what he's doing, you just can't help but get behind the kid. And you can't get behind Moxley. You can't get behind Moxley at all. And you know what you left out? Know what we didn't talk about? The return of Leo Rush after 2 years.
No one gives a shit. No one gives a shit.
He was signed 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And hardly ever used.
It was just, look, I liked some of the segments of the show. I hope they improve on that. I like Will Ospreay, but this feels a whole lot like when Vince McMahon was shoving Roman Reigns down everybody's throat way too early because he was like, that's my guy in the future. Instead of letting it naturally happen. It can happen naturally. He is shoving this dude down everybody's throat, and I'm not digging it. I know you got a couple of news to get to. What do you got for me right now?
The Janelle Grant and her lawyer just came out today and said that we put a stay on our lawsuit against Vince McMahon and the WWE because the Department of Justice is investigating Vince McMahon, and he's been subpoenaed to appear, and Janelle Grant's been subpoenaed to appear in their investigation for sex trafficking. And it's not just Vince McMahon who's got their feet in the flames like Jack Perry for this. The WWE is also a defendant in this. So we'll have to see how this shakes out. Big doings there. Also, with the negotiations with Tony Khan and Warner Brothers Discovery. It all depends who you talk to, Don.
Okay, I'm glad you said that because a couple of days ago, even Wrestling Observer was reporting that he wasn't happy. And now Dave Meltzer's put his spin on it, saying, no, that's not right. That's not the good thing. That's actually not what happened at all. He's very happy. They're moving forward. It's a good negotiation. I'm glad you said that, because the spin, go ahead. The spin they're putting on this is absurd, man. Dave Meltzer's like, well, this is what Dave Meltzer said. Well, the thing is, and I told the guy, and when I said it, I said, look, here's the thing. When I saw him, I said, look, here's what it is. That's how he started the conversation. Dave Meltzer is a stuttering John of idiocy right now. What the hell has happened to this guy?
I have no idea. I don't want to say it's early Alzheimer's onset, but I got the exact quote right here. This is from the Wrestle Purist Twitter account, which all they do is repost Wrestling Observer. They must have a subscription, of course. Dave Meltzer says the number he heard offered by Warner Brothers Discovery to AEW for a new deal are not disappointing. Here's a quote from Meltzer. I was told he wasn't disappointed at all, but at the same time, what does disappointed mean? I mean, it's just a word. You can say he hasn't signed, so it's not the offer he wanted. You can say, well, that's disappointing. You can say that, but the numbers I hear would not be numbers I would call it disappointing. And there are people out there that we talk to who are essentially in that business of media and, selling media rights and things like that, who say that, like we said before in the past on this show a month ago, they were offered a 3-hour Dynamite, no more Rampage. That's done. And the Saturday show Collision is going to be an hour. That's all. 4 hours. A downgrade of programming. Tony Khan was just on the Rich Eisen show, that podcast, and said that, 5 hours, I would love to do more than 5 hours. I could be talked into that. I could be talked into doing more than 5 hours of programming. I could do that. Nobody wants more than 5 hours of programming from AEW. They don't. They want to decrease. I could see if Raw moves to Netflix like they are, having a 3-hour Dynamite on regular TV. I can see it. I can see that. I wouldn't want to see it personally, a 3-hour Dynamite, because a 2-hour Dynamite, Don, is horrendous. But I think all you're going to get is Rampage shoehorned into Dynamite. It's just going to be the shits. It's going to be Rocky Romero, JD Drake, the workhorseman, the nipple nibbler, all that bullshit. That's all you're going to see.
What we heard, by the way, and what you and I were both told were, it was an offer similar to what NXT got, because they're drawing very similar ratings right now.
35 mil. And I would CW's paying that to NXT. And NXT said that's a great deal.
And I will say that makes sense, because they are doing nothing but losing people right now. They're losing people left and right. They're losing fans. They're losing sponsorships. They're losing audience members. They're not getting the revenue they were getting. When they got the big extension initially, they had 1 million viewers. They were constantly bringing in 1 million eyes to this product. They were hot because here's the truth. Everyone was sick of the WWE and Vince McMahon's terrible booking. They had zombies.
Terrible.
They set a man on fire. And now here we are 5 years later. They're doing the same shit. They're doing the same thing. It's the same product over and over again. And everybody criticized Vince McMahon. Rightfully so. I was not going to watch that garbage. Now this AEW product is turning into that garbage.
Don, I think you and I can both agree, and everybody out there, especially people in the chat room, the 2018-2019 WWE, run by the madman known as Vince McMahon, was the shits. He was tearing up scripts like 7:30 before Raw would come on at 8. Yeah. And it was just horrendous. It would write the show as it went along, and people were just living in fear. But I mean, people rule by intimidation. They've done it for centuries. But that's what we're looking at. That's what we're looking at with AEW right now. He got a shitty offer from Warner Brothers Discovery, and he's going to have to decide to eat that shit sandwich or wait till I've heard the exclusivity of the negotiation process, I heard was over with. But it's now Meltzer says it at the end of July.
By the way, super chats are open. Please let us know if you got something to say. Like and subscribe. Hit that notification button. We appreciate everybody that's been here tonight. This has been a grassroots effort. We started with about 3 people, some buddies of ours. We came from nothing. I appreciate everybody that's ever supported us. It means the world to us, and I cannot thank you enough. We're just a couple of guys talking wrestling. We read the news. We read the stories. We tell you what we think because, quite frankly, we think there's a lot of wrestling fans out there that see these things the same way we do. We talk about WWE. It's not embarrassing is why we watch it again, right? It's not over. Right. It's not exciting every week. There's not shit happening every week that makes me go, I can't wait to watch it again next week. But at least it's not embarrassing. For the first time in a long time, I can finally say this AEW show we saw did not embarrass me as a wrestling fan and made me go, you know what? I want to watch next week. I want to watch not because of this show. I want to watch next week because I'm a fan. I don't want to see the same shit I saw the week before the pay-per-view, which probably was the worst show they've ever done. And the ratings proved it. People left by the droves. This show was exciting. It had some good moments. Do more good, less bad, and cut out the dreadful. Get rid of the tree. Somebody come out next week with a goddamn axe and cut that son of a bitch down. Matter of fact, let it be Low Plains Drifter that comes out and turns on him and just chops it down. He could just stand up and he'll chop it maybe at a third of the way up. That's where his natural swing's going to be.
Jesus Christ. Well, let me ask you this. How come no one's getting any heat on Jericho? How come no one's beating Jericho up?
I don't know.
How come no one's running in? And how come Samoa Joe and Hook did run in the ring and jack all those guys up?
Well, the thing is
that happen?
He's the heel, so he's got to keep the heat. But the problem is that it's not the right kind of heat. It's that go-away heat. So
we talked about that. It's X-Pac heat.
Yeah, as you call it. Yes, late 90s X-Pac heat. I did want to talk about this. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
No, do you have another piece of news to get to?
I was being redundant, but I got another piece of news. Yeah. This is related to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, the kicker, Brandon McManus, has been accused of sexually assaulting 2 stewardesses on an airplane on a flight.
I think he did the old Ric Flair on the flight, the plane ride from hell for the Jaguars. Marijuana and alcohol were being used on the Jaguars team plane back from London, according to the case where this was divulged, where Brandon McManus allegedly sexually assaulted flight attendants. These 2 substances are a major no by the NFL, and the team will likely face punishment, according to NBC. What do you think of that?
I think, again, dude, you can accuse anybody of anything. No, quiet.
I'm going to ban that man from this chat room.
No,
he's being banned from the chat.
Jesus Christ on a pony. Hell is wrong with
you? If you're in the chat, you know what I'm laughing at.
Good God Almighty, you guys are animals.
He's relentless, but he's a source of humor.
But here's the thing.
Oh God,
you could accuse any asshole.
Hang on a second. I hate to interrupt you. I'll just say, folks, if you watch this show, it's worth it just to go in the chat room and see what these people are putting up. It's hilarious what these guys are putting in the chat room. And they have like guys and gals. They've got facts. There are guys in there who have wrestling knowledge minutia, which they put out. And also guys who have great humor as to what's going on in their wrestling. Black Larry, I'm talking right to you. So go ahead, guys. Go ahead, Don. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, no, go ahead. You said you had another. Well, you talked about that story. So again, it's what it's like. Good story. You can prove it. You got to prove it. Okay. You can accuse anybody of anything. You've got to prove it eventually. And you got to be able to show where it happened. It's his word against now 2 women. So that probably puts the odds against them. Who knows? Again, this country has become guilty until proven innocent. I will let this play out in court, just like Vince McMahon, just like anybody else that's been accused of wrongdoing. I will wait until it plays out in court. Whatever the jury or the judge finds, okay, I'll stand by that decision. Not my choice. That's what happened. Here's where we are. What else you got for me today, Bottles?
Jan Ross, the wife of Jim Ross, we all know, passed away in 2017. 7 years ago.
Oh,
she had
Jan Ross.
traumatic brain injury. She was driving to her local gym in the morning on her Vespa scooter.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Where they live. She was hit by a car, not wearing a helmet, suffered multiple skull fractures. As a result of her injuries, they had to pull the plug, and she passed away tragically. And it really destroyed Jim Ross. It really impacted him so badly. He talked about it on social media and in his books. And he continues to try to keep her spirit alive after a long and happy marriage.
Don't do this.
While appearing on the Cafe de Renee.
I knew you were going to do this.
The Cafe de Renee podcast, which Renee is the former member of La Resistance, Rene Goulet, journeyman wrestler. He's probably in his mid-40s now. Still in great shape.
Just get.
He wrestles overseas, primarily in Japan.
Anyway, I know where you're going.
They had a special guest on the show, Missy Hyatt.
Holy shit!
And Missy Hyatt was asked whether she would be open to spending the night with Ross if she would give him a chance to rock it up. And it led to the reveal. They dated in 2019, 2 years after his wife passed away. Not that there's anything wrong with that. God bless the man. She didn't say how long the relationship lasted. Honestly, me and Jim dated for a couple of years. About 2 years after his wife passed away, we dated for 2 years. So, yeah, I've rocked his world and he rocked my world. Hyatt and Ross previously worked together in WCW. In her 2001 book, she paid tribute to him and thanked him for being by her side and as a mentor with him. And if you ever want to see Missy Hyatt, go to your local fish store.
Stop. She's an older woman.
With bad plastic surgery.
I'm not getting into this.
Big cans. I'll get into it all I want to. She looks like a human algae eater. You ever
what
see
did she say? Get to what she said, because that's the part that
I just said what she said. She's not going to kiss and tell. She's not going to talk about the schwanz from Jim Ross. No.
She said he rocked my world and I rocked his.
I said that in the beginning of what I just said.
Okay. I was too busy fucking watching you. I was terrified which road you were about to go down with this story. Because in my head, I just hear you pulling a Jim Ross going, oh, sassafras. Oh, JR's grilling sauce is everywhere, baby.
He's got a bottle of barbecue sauce on the nightstand, which is very, very strange. That's what she said. That's one of the things she said. Yes.
Shit, dude.
Yes. And he allegedly, she took his belt off and beat him like a government mule. He said, by God, I got a family.
Well, good for him because he sponsors the shit out of Blue Chew. I'm glad to hear it's not just a sponsorship. He's using the hell out of it. Here's to you, JR. God bless you, man.
The guy's in his 70s. He's got cancer of his skin cancer on his ankle.
Been fighting it for years.
He was afraid he was going to lose his foot.
Yeah.
He fought the flu off and pneumonia just recently. He's out of the hospital. God bless him. If he was bagging Missy Hyatt at that age, God bless him.
Oh my God. Bless it. Come on, Larry.
Folks, this is what you're missing in the chat on this show. You're missing the words of wisdom of Block Larry and Gil and Wrestling Old Head and Jason Martinez. I'm just throwing names out there right now. These guys are just.
We're done. I'm done.
It's amazing. It's great stuff. Great stuff. Don, one last thing. Have you heard about the Forbidden Door of the WWE?
Yes. I was just reading about that, actually. I was just reading about that.
What have you heard?
You're talking about TNA, right?
Yes.
Yeah. While the exact details of the deal are unknown, as they should be, I'm told the partnership between the two has been months in the making. WWE loved the feedback and energy from Jordynne Grace's Rumble appearance and were eager to use her again. There are tentative plans for additional superstars to make said crossover and appearances in very close due time. Both companies understand that a slow, thoughtful approach will benefit both parties and nothing immediate should happen.
Moose, Joe Hendry, Jordynne Grace, I know you don't know who those people are, but they are TNA stars.
No, I know who Moose is. I know who Moose is.
They're talking. Moose is talking about facing Drew McIntyre, and Drew McIntyre is all for it.
Oh, yeah. No, I saw that. Yeah.
He said Drew McIntyre posted on Twitter that door opens both ways. So don't be surprised if Drew goes over for a little while to TNA. Moose comes over to WWE. The reason why there's so much synergy between the two, like we talked about at the beginning of the year, when TKO bought WWE, they were already in bed with TNA as owning the TNA Plus app, which is created by the same people in TKO that do the UFC app.
Yeah.
So that's a streaming service that TKO owns, TNA Plus. They're partners with the guys who own Axis and TNA. The Axis TV, the people that own that is a Canadian company. Right. They own TNA. And they farmed out their app, their internet work and structuring the app to TKO Sports. And this is all just fantastic stuff. So you've got WWE, who's in partners with TNA.
You're going way off.
Marigold, which is the new Japanese. Go ahead. What?
The important thing here is that, everybody said they would never work with these other companies, right? That's what everybody said. Tony Khan was like, they'll never work with us. It's a new day. They want to work with other companies because they understand competition is a good thing. I help you out. You help me out. We collide our stars. We have fun matches. We give the fans matches they want to see. We build up your stars, so it builds up your company. This is what they did with ECW in the late 90s. People don't realize this. Vince McMahon kept that company afloat by paying the bills so they could keep the power on. This isn't an idiot running this company. They understand. You have got to have a healthy competition because you can't train all the stars. There are other people developing in other areas. You can't get them all. You're never going to get them all. You just get the guys you can, the guys and gals you can't. You try to work with those companies and say, hey, maybe, just maybe this is somebody we want to bring into the fold later in this family.
Sure. It would never happen under Vince, of course.
Oh, God, no.
It would never happen under Vince. And I can't wait till next year's Queen of the Ring when they bring in Effie from Game Changer Wrestling to be a contestant in Queen of the Ring. Effie.
I can already hear Vince McMahon if this was happening now. Do you like limo rides, honey?
Effie's a guy, pal.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
He would still say, you like limo rides, honey.
You know what a roast beef special is. That's enough. That's enough shit jokes for the night. I got one last thing before we take off tonight.
Go ahead.
The MJF story has officially broken. It's out now.
What?
His contract was re-signed at AEW Double or Nothing in 2022.
Was that an extension or
it was an extension? It was an extension. He was never in danger of coming out from what I'm seeing right here. This could be a bad story. This could be bullshit. It could be whatever. I don't even know. But that's what they're saying. I'm just telling you what I'm reading. As seen on the 2024 Double or Nothing pay-per-view, former champion MJF made his return. According to Fightful, our favorite piece of shit, cocaine head, the plan last week was to come out and have him fly to Phoenix and be driven to Las Vegas and had him come in the back door so no one could see him enter, surprising everyone.
Who can validate that? Who can validate that, Don? Who can validate that?
Dude, Sean Ross Sapp can validate the shit out of
it. Right.
Holy shit, dude. So anyway, look, it looks like, I thought from the beginning there was no way they were going to let this guy get away. This was their golden goose. He really is their natural homegrown star. He's going to be the one guy they hold on to that they're going to keep around for as long as they can. We both read that he was asking for top 5 money from the WWE, and they were like, I don't see that happening. You've done well where you are. We just don't see that being where we're going to start from. And I don't blame them.
Right. They brought in Ethan Page, a former AEW.
Oh, yes. You're talking about. Yes.
Former AEW guy, great wrestler, looks like $1 million. He can talk, never got a shot. Well, he got a shot several times. It's all start-stop pushes in AEW. Ethan Page, he was was he the first? No, he wasn't the first tag team champion. I think he was the second tag team champion in AEW with Scorpio Sky when Frankie Kazarian got hurt or left or what have you. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Ethan Page is now in NXT. And he's going to be one of those guys that's going to go over to TNA and go back to NXT. Also,
is that a bad thing, though? Like, that's a good idea.
I can't keep my eyes off the goddamn chat, dude.
Get out of the chat.
Anyway,
Get out of
Anyway,
I can't. Dude.
2 contracts in WWE that are coming up. 3. Becky Lynch. She's taking a summer off, I heard.
Yes.
To be home with her husband.
You talked about this, and now they're actually acknowledging this. She is now officially, according to all sites, going to take some time off. There's no report that she's going to sign with AEW. The girl just wants to go home, spend some time with her child, and enjoy a summer vacation. And her husband. I mean, he's hurt,
so he's out. He's out till fall.
Yeah.
So. Chad Gable, his contract's up next week.
That's the big one. That's the big one. Do you believe his contract is actually up next week? Because I don't.
I don't believe it. They'll probably come to terms this week. TKO, I'll say it again, like I said many, many times on this show in the past. TKO has said publicly, the guys who run TKO, we negotiate our contracts right before they're up. We're not doing it a year in advance or 6 months in advance. We're not like WWE. We negotiate with our fighters and our wrestlers now the week of the contract. So, and that's good negotiating skills because where are you going to go now? Where are you going to go?
Well, it's not just that.
Last days, where are you going to go?
But it's not just that. You also know your true value now being based on how you've been used. You understand where you're at. And I have no doubt it's not up next week. I think that's a false story. They're not going to wait until a week before it's up. It might be July, to be quite honest. I'm not buying it's a week away.
Don. Sean Ross Sapp said so.
He's out here chasing raccoons in my backyard.
Through the magic windows?
Through the magic windows. As you can see, it's getting dark now.
Oh, yeah. How do you do that?
Please like and subscribe. Hit that notification button. Bottles.
One more, Don. One more, Don. One more. One more contract. And I know this is someone that, one of your favorites, one of your favorite wrestlers.
Oh, boy.
Natalya.
Oh, I do like Natalya. What's going on? What's happening? What's happening?
What a shock. Natalya's contract's up.
Well, we know that.
An extension. We don't know if she signed the extension or not.
You mean they offered her one? You've read that they
offered an extension.
Okay, just making sure.
This is what we read. Sean Ross Sapp swears up and down that she's going to take some time off to think about it.
Well, look, you've got to decide where you're going to be at this point in time if you're her age. Do you want to ever have kids? Is that not open? Is that window closed? Are you that dedicated to the sport that this is what you want to do the rest of your life? You want to be dedicated to wrestling? It's a big decision to make. Like this next contract she signs, it's going to go in one of two directions, right? She's going to stay around WWE and be a mentor and be a woman that can train the wrestlers and do a match every now and then. Maybe she gets a late push later, or she goes to AEW and she's immediately one of their main stars because that's what's going to be.
Dude. She goes to AEW. She's going to be a main star for a month. Then she's going to be wrestling Snooki Perazzo on Rampage. That's where Snooki Perazzo is now, on Rampage. It's good.
We got great nicknames. Oh my God. Low Plage Drifter might be my favorite of the week. The other one is one that we can't say on the air. Bottles, it's time to go home, pal. It's been a great night. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. Hit that notification button. We are still working on a special guest. Mike Digital, I sent him another message just so you know. We're working on it, pal. I'm working my best.
I sort of lost respect for this guy, our special guest, when he's being an apologist for AEW.
Oh, no, he's not.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
Okay.
I don't know. He's got to sway me. If we ever get him on the show, he's got to sway me from what I've seen him say on social media.
I responded to him on social media, and I told him the issues that I have. And I think he'd actually agree with us that they've got a lot of talent, but they're not using it correctly. I believe he would say the same thing. The booking is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
The owner is a problem.
The owner's
that's
a big
where we're
problem.
headed. Yeah, I mean, dude. Anyway, thanks for watching. That's all I've got. Do you want to know who would have loved to find out about Blue Chew back in the day?
If they only had Blue Chew back in the day, the man wouldn't have to smoke so many cigarettes and drink so much vodka underneath the announce table while he's getting a old-fashioned.
Nope. Hit the button.
While he's getting an old-fashioned from G.D. Martin.
Button.
Until next week, Gordon Soley saying so long from the Sunshine State.